Hello, hello. Here we are again, coming to you from Broadcast Team Alpha on 44 different platforms around the world. And we are also transmitting on the Conscious Awakening Network. Gotta go have a look at them because they got close to 50 different shows over there. And it is a platform, nobody can mess with it. They cannot be hacked, they cannot be shut down. So that's where they keep the good stuff. Well, anyway, my name is Hagi, and I have a wonderful guest with me. You are really gonna like this because we're gonna we're gonna get into space a little bit. And also, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, that's the place to be because that's the only place we can watch the chat room. And then I'm gonna say a few more things about the guest. We have Robert Stanley with us. He's returning to Broadcast Team Alpha. I think it's been, well over a year or so since last time. But he's going, you're going to like this because Robert is a world traveler. He's been to 59 different countries in the pursuit of both modern and ancient mysteries. And he's found a lot of them. He's an author of several books. He is a host of the show, The Salvation Report. And he'll talk more about that in a second. And then also, he is in print. He's on radio, on TV, and on podcasts, sought after guest there. And his website is robert.stanley.substack.com. And I think the most recent book is Covert Encounters in Washington, D.C. And that covers an awful lot of stuff, including what's going on up there and what's going on down here. So, gosh, I don't even know where to start, but welcome to the show, Robert.
Oh, thank you, Augie. I appreciate you having me back. One correction: it's robertstanley.substack.com. It's fine. What you said, nobody's going to find it if they put the dot in the wrong place. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry about
No,
that.
it's fine. It's fine. Not a problem. I appreciate it. And I gotta say, I've known you for a while, and you just amazed me at how much energy and love you put into these shows that you're doing. And I know you do it for the good of mankind. So I do appreciate it, Augie.
Yeah, thank you very much. It is becoming a labor of love, and you know how that works, I'm sure.
Yeah, labor pains.
Yeah, there you go.
We're
Yeah,
birthing a new world.
but, yeah, and the producer he put the title on this show about how UFOs fly.
Yes.
And maybe that's where we could start a little bit because that is something that if you're a little bit alive, you're going to be a little interested in that. So maybe we
Yes.
could talk about that because there's so many different types of them. They have
Yeah.
different propulsion systems, but they got one thing in common, and that is the gravity nullification effect.
Right. So one of the things that is very unusual about these craft is they usually don't make any noise or maybe just a slight humming noise. And that is because the frequency of the energy coming out is beyond our range of hearing, or either above or below our range of hearing. That's been proven to me. So to my satisfaction. So that's one of the things. The other thing is the more advanced craft can literally be over your head and you won't see them because they have an optical stealth type of option that they can activate. So it's not like what our military uses with stealth bombers. When I say optical stealth, meaning we can't see them. Why? Again, it's just like with the hearing thing. Our vision, if this is the known spectrum, I'm holding my hands like a yardstick here. If this is the known spectrum of radiation, we only see about this much. So if the ship's energy field is beyond our range of vision, above or below it, we're not going to see it. Okay. So that's why sometimes they show up on radar and we cannot see them visually. So it's a little that kind of worries people, I think, can make some people a little bit nervous.
Yeah, and similarly also, if you had an infrared camera,
Yes.
you just might be able to see them because they're slightly
Yeah.
out of our range.
Yeah. Well, okay. So all cameras that we buy commercially, including the ones that come on the phone, have infrared filters. Because if you were to take pictures with the camera and it didn't have that filter, you would look at it and say, "Hey, that's not what I took a picture of. What's all this other stuff in here?" So it has to mimic. It has to be dumped down to our level of frequency, the narrowness of our frequency. All the cameras are like that, like you said. Unless it's not that they've added a filter, they've literally the cameras that take the infrared, they don't have a filter. So especially the newer cameras are really sensitive, right? Those little sensors are super sensitive, and they can see stuff that our eyes can't see. Like especially the Nikon cameras, the ISO, what the equivalent of an ISO, which used to be, they call it that now. It used to be ASA for film. I don't know. Did you ever take photographs when you were younger with film?
Uh, oh yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so the rating of it, the light sensitivity was called, I believe, it's called ASA. Now it's ISO. Anyway, that's infrared sensitivity. So, um, yeah, these cameras that are available can actually see things in the dark that we can't see. And I've had a lot of fun with that. I do have some Nikon cameras. It is extremely helpful when you're trying to study the UFO phenomena.
Yeah, yeah, and likewise also, if you get yourself fourth generation night vision goggles,
Oh yeah, yeah, there's that too.
they can
Yeah,
see them.
usually, yes, you're right. That's true. Um,
Yeah, I
yes,
remember.
and it scares people. Go ahead.
I remember reading something about the when we were over in Iraq.
Iraq,
They
yeah.
gave they gave these cameras to the soldiers, and they got all
Yeah.
kinds of complaints because they said
Mhm.
we we can see people, but when we take the goggles off, they're not there anymore.
Yes. Yes, and that's what the Muslims call jinn. They walk
Hmm.
among us, and we can't on some occasions, we can see them, and those people, humans, who have a relationship with them, um, and they summon them, they can occasionally, they will come into our frequency, I guess you call it, that
Yeah,
narrow band, and interact with us, but they're always there even when we can't see them.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a reality. And people, this is the thing, people now, when people say, "Oh, I want disclosure," are you sure? Because our government is not, first of all, they're not going to tell you everything. And if you knew everything, you probably wouldn't sleep well at night. I know Representative Burchett, he alluded to that recently. He said, "Oh my God, yeah, I can't really tell you, but man, it's very disturbing." Yeah, because it's way more complicated than most people understand. Because you already know this, but I'm saying for the audience, this has been known forever, honestly, by humans. Those of us that walk in that circle, right, that really study this, have experienced close encounters, or however you want to look at it, or paranormal. But is it benevolent? Some of it is, but it's also got a dark side, the malevolent side of it as well. And that's the part I feel is very difficult to explain to us, the publicly, officially. It's, the churches have been skirting around it. They don't want to talk about this because what my pastor told me was, if you start talking about those things, people are not going to show up at your church anymore because you're scaring them. Right. So this is an issue here. It's like a tightrope. They're trying to explain it to us, but gradually. And it didn't just start yesterday with that website. They've been doing this gradually for decades.
Yeah. They've been treating us like mushrooms. There is yeah, there is a website actually on the FBI website. It is
Hmm.
vault.fbi.com.com/UFOs, and they have
Right.
all kinds of different UFO document declassified. You can go read it. So I know the disclosure the government is going to give us now, they'll be dribbles compared to what just
That's a good way to say it. Uh,
yeah.
the bottom line is they're controlling the narrative. And as I told you off the air, and I've told other people this for decades, we can't have disclosure until one of these groups step forward and actually gives a press conference or addresses the people of the planet. And then of course we're going to have to validate it to see if that's even true, but because we've been lied to for so long. But this is another thing I've always felt very uncomfortable about. Why, if especially if they have bases here under the ocean and under the ground and maybe in orbit, why aren't they interacting with us if they are living here too? Okay, okay, you could fill in the blank there. I'm sure everybody's got their opinion, but to me, there's something very sinister about the fact that they're living here. That some of them are living here. Clearly, yes, we're being visited by a lot of different groups, but there are some groups, okay, and this is coming out in the official narrative too. There's been literally congressmen come forward and say, yes, they're under the water and they have technologies that allow them to literally move under the water in ways that we can't. And obviously, they're living down there too. I mean, I don't think they're fish, so maybe they are. I don't know. But the bottom line is this: we are. Here's the other thing I used to always say to people about this issue. Once we cross the line of so-called disclosure, there's no going back. You can't take it back. You can't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was just kidding." Right? And the further we go, the more questions the public is going to ask. Legitimately, when did you find this out? Why didn't you tell us sooner? Is this? I mean, there's a lot of questions. I'm only touching on a few of them, but like this, I would say, hey, if these things are so advanced, why are they crashing for
Yeah.
decades? What? Oh, did we really shot them down with our primitive stuff, or did we have advanced stuff? And if we did, where did we get it? I mean, there's just uh, it, that's. I mean, that's a logical question, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the thing about it also is that if they were so advanced, they wouldn't be crashing because they
No.
have great technologies,
Yeah.
but I don't think it is that reliable because, well, many of them also they coming out of the sky and crashing because of radar, which in
Allegedly.
for the
Allegedly. That's what
1947.
Stanton Friedman's. Yeah, I know. I read about that, but we were also shooting at them in 1952. That's well
Yeah,
documented, and of course, they never admitted it, but it got into the newspapers. It was documented. Truman, I think, was the one that issued it, but we didn't have advanced stuff there. They were using like beam weapons and things, and we were shooting them with proximity fuse rockets. I think they called them Mighty Mouse rockets. It was
mhm.
just it's crazy, crazy stuff. But so here's the other question. If you guys aren't welcome here, if you know you're not welcome here and you're being shot down, why do you keep coming back here? What is
Yeah,
it? There's something they want here, don't you think?
I imagine so. And maybe there's something they know we want also. The only thing in
True.
the way is government.
Well, allegedly, yes. There's been quid pro quo. There was an exchange. There's a collaboration. We let them do something, and they give us something. But that goes right
Yeah.
back to the Book of Enoch. Supposedly, the fallen angels gave mankind technology and showed us how to use these weapons of war and drugs and jewelry. And I mean, it's just like it's a very strange relationship. It's not new. That's the other thing. Like I said, anybody who takes the time to actually read some of these ancient texts from around the world, not just the Middle East, clearly they've been here forever. As long as we maybe actually in the Bible it says the angels were created first, and they watched God create the earth. You know, I mean, so all this stuff has to be taken into account when we're talking about this, so they can be put into the proper context. It's not just a soundbite. This is not one of those issues you go, well, it's just here it is.
Yeah. And
Sorry,
then
I feel like I'm yelling at you, Hockey.
yeah,
I get really wound up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I think when it comes to the UFO technology as such,
Yeah.
there's so many different drive systems, and I know that there are insiders coming out saying we had anti-gravity or gravity nullification in 1953.
Maybe even sooner.
Yeah.
It's possible. But again, I don't think we developed it. There's a lot of things we can do, but there's a lot of things we have no idea because the technology wasn't there. You know, I mean, when you read the book of Colonel Corso has a lot of untruths in it. Day After Roswell, but I've read his other books, his diary. It's very interesting, and I was friends with Command Sergeant Major Robert O'Dean before he passed, and he told me a lot about Corso and these these covert relationships that we've had, you know, in exchange for technologies, multiple technologies, not just fiber optics and semiconductors. No, it's way beyond that, you know. So let's get into this now. What about these drive systems? Well, I can tell you this much: you can not only use it as transport, but you could use it to power up entire cities. It's the same technology, or I should say, it's the same power. But let me back up a little bit here. When we talk about generators on Earth, that's a misnomer. That's a totally incorrect term. We don't generate anything with the coil, the winding on a magnet on a conventional generating so-called generator, right? Electrical generator. It's harvesting electricity that's in the earth that's coming from space. It flows through the earth, right? So all we're doing is harvesting it and collecting it and focusing it. That's the difference. And the reason I tell you that is because, and I'm sure Tesla already knew this too, because the way he was taking that kind of ambient energy, some people call it ether, some people call it 0 point, whatever, but he was able to tap into that in order to then focus it out and broadcast it out in a way that, you know, devices would pick it up, just like an antenna, like a radio. Okay. So this is important. Clearly, you can't bring that much fuel with you when you go to any kind of distance. You need something that's going to be doesn't have to refuel all the time, you know, like a gas station every 6,000 miles or something. So they're tapping into resonant frequencies or energy flow. I never sent you that one.
That's a constant flow of energy then.
Yes, and scientists call this they call it the cosmic web of light. And when we look into space at night and it looks completely black except for the stars, realize that there is light flowing, rivers and streams of light flowing in between all the star groups. You could say it's a plasma, but it's electricity, and it's also consciousness. It's an intelligent living system, right? So it's alive, and we can tap into that once our consciousness gets up to a certain level. I guess, like Michio Kaku says, type 1 civilization or type 2. I don't know. We're supposedly type 0 right now, but some people here on this planet obviously have access to the higher technologies that I can't give you all the details, right? I studied this for years, but it's like I kind of feel like there's no point because we can't build them. If we did, I'm sure the government would come in and grab them because it's happened to other people when they went down that road. So we're kind of treading in thin ice here about this, and I really don't want to disappear, Augie. You know, I really don't.
I know. I got a friend, Dan Willis. He was spending close to 10 years traveling around the world investigating free energy, And he met
Yes.
somebody in the Caribbean. They said they developed an engine that
Yeah.
never needed any fuel. They created his own. The
Yeah.
Men in Black showed up and they said, if this thing works, you are dead.
Right.
So the guy
That's
guy
correct.
buried it. Yeah.
I don't blame him. I would have too. I would have too. And I'll tell you what, it was really frustrating for me. Although it was fascinating, it was also frustrating for me working at Honda Research and Development for 8 years, learning about things that I couldn't really tell people because they would sue me or put me in jail or worse. And um,
Yeah.
like, okay, so let's say hypothetically, right? Cars, the way we have cars right now, they talk about hybrid systems. That it's ridiculous that the way it's set up. But like trains and nuclear submarines, what they do is they they generate they generate electricity that goes to the drives. Let's say the propeller or the wheels. All right, so we could do that, but it's too efficient. It's being
Yeah.
suppressed. This is not rocket science, Augie. We're talking something really basic. It was shown to me, but it's not available because the oil companies say, "Oh, you would disrupt the infrastructure."
Yeah.
Uh,
Sure.
that's
There.
insane. Oh, really? You know? So, and I was just a researcher. Okay, I help write the reports and do the research, but I mean, I'm not stupid either. It's like you show me this, but you tell me, well, we can't do it because of politics or greed or pride or but the technology's there. It's like, oh, you guys
Yeah.
are crazy. You really are nuts. In my book,
Yeah.
just me. That's my opinion.
I also saw Elon Musk developed an engine that run on water.
Yeah, I saw that too. I saw
Yeah.
that too.
Two
But
people.
okay, but Augie, that's yes. But Stan Meyer did the same thing, and I think they killed him. But the bottom line is, yeah, the bottom line is literally a very small turbine like this that runs on super lean gas
Mhm.
efficiently, hyper efficiently, can be put into a car or a home. Actually, it could run what I saw, it could literally run an entire city block, and I could hold it in my hand, and it spun at a high rate with this what they call rare earth magnets. So it's very powerful, right? But all it does, I mean, nuclear energy, God, it's the stupidest way to make steam I've ever heard of. To run a
Yeah.
turbine, we don't need that. We don't need that at all. But anyway, so these super efficient turbines are available, but they're not. I mean, they've already tested them. They know they work, but they're not available because it works too well. And so not only would it make the cars independent, like you could run 1,000 miles easily on a gallon of gas or
Yeah.
propane or whatever, and have electric, the efficiency and the torque of an electric vehicle, because you'd have 2 or 4 electric motors and one tiny little engine that it doesn't have a piston. It's a rotary motor. Mazda's working
Yeah.
on something like this too. But the bottom line is it just makes enough electricity. Yes, you'll have batteries, but not an entire car full of batteries. Just a little battery is all you need to get it started, and also, just run the lights and stuff. But the bottom line is, you could also, the way it was shown to me was, you could drive up to your house, plug your car into the house, and run the house. Okay, you could all
Yeah.
the electricity, or either that or you just put one into the house. And why is that important? Because our grid, the electrical grid, is incredibly vulnerable to EMP, or like a what do you call solar flare, Carrington
Yeah.
event type of situation. We're just sitting ducks for this, unless we start. I don't think it's going to happen because the system is too corrupt. But the technology is there. We could actually harden the energy, oh God, not deregulate. It's where it's I forget the term, where it's not dependent. It's not, the grid is mm, separate. It's like cells in your body. You could harm yourself, but your rest of your body keeps going. It's the same way with this electrical grid. If you
Hmm.
decentralize, right, and you have all these generating areas, stations, literally millions of them across the United States, that it would be impossible to shut off all the power.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
So
right. Yeah.
anyway,
But even the simple thing like that, there was Charles Poe,
Mhm.
Poghua
The
in Canada.
carburetor. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, he got 204 miles per gallon on it.
Yeah, I know. I
I
know. It's
seen
ridiculous.
the test results from Ford Motor Company. They show 204 miles per gallon. I got the papers.
Yeah. I know. I've seen it. Believe me, I saw all kinds of stuff when I was yeah, and it's just not available. It just isn't
Yeah.
available because of the greed and the corruption and it's I'm trying not to curse right now, okay, Augie, because it makes me so angry. When because
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's just gonna offend people if I start cursing about it. But I really do feel a level of frustration. Most people don't because I've seen it. I know it works,
Yeah.
and it would make the planet a much more efficient and cost effective. Is when I say efficient, I don't just mean pollution. I'm talking about it's equitable for everybody. Oh no, we can't do that,
Hmm.
because then the fat cats, the banksters, whatever these people are, if they're even people, they
Yeah.
were not going to get their unfair share of the pie.
Yeah. Yeah. Even now, the Volkswagens in Europe, they get 60 to 70 miles per gallon on them.
Are you talking about diesel?
No,
That
no,
sounds
it's
like
regular.
just regular gas.
Yeah, regular gasoline. Because here in America, Volkswagen put there's a de-scrambler that it scrambles the fuel, um, the vaporization of the fuel going into the
Uh,
injector, or
uh,
from the injector, I guess it is.
yeah.
And I don't understand the technology on it, but it's there just to make more lousy mileage here because the oil companies need their
Oh,
profits.
wow. 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 Well, I'm not surprised, but I haven't heard that about Volkswagen. What they told us over here was they're in trouble for cheating on their emissions, you
Yeah.
know, right? But so anyway, I'm sorry I got off on that tangent, but people need to understand that the cars are actually getting more expensive, but they're less reliable. And
Yeah.
and they're also not as efficient like we're saying here. We're trying to explain to you cars could be extremely efficient compared to what they are now, but all of that stuff would become obsolete once with this other more advanced, I would call it cosmic technology, because I feel it's universal. It's not withheld from the advanced civilizations don't have any reason to withhold or hide that from each other, because if they're all using it, they all know what it is, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's see, whatever groups made a deal with our government, I don't trust them one bit. There's no
No,
reason to trust them, right? Because you know, judge them by
yeah.
their actions.
I don't think they trust us either because you know the saying, you lay down with dogs, you're gonna get fleas. So they they I'm sure they understand that we cannot be trusted either.
Yeah. Yeah, but certain groups I think are down willing to get down and dirty and probably
Yeah.
get some fleas with us.
Yeah.
That's what it
Yeah.
seems like. Okay, so the article I sent you was about nuclear creating these energy fields, magnetohydrodynamic (MHD) systems, and yeah, those do work, but they're also extremely dangerous unless you have and this is again what I learned when I was studying, working at Honda Research and Development. Certain fusion reactions are called aneutronic, meaning they do not produce neutrons, and therefore they don't need shielding. And you obviously don't want a lot of shielding on your reactor because it's heavy. It's very, very heavy. Even if you have gravity, whatever, it's like, it becomes cumbersome. All right. And it's
Yeah.
just dangerous because if it leaks, whatever. So the the there's stuff that we've made here that is back engineered, which I feel is extremely dangerous, and I've seen some of it up close. It's not to me, it's not good. But the reason you want to have a field propulsion system is so when you do go into space and all that radiation coming from not just from our sun. but from all the suns. There's cosmic radiation going through everything, throughout, and right. So, and plus you're going at incredible speeds. So even a small piece of dust could cause it'd have to be more substantial than dust. But I'm saying, if like a pebble, if you're going at a high speed and you hit something like that, and all you've got is like a little tin can, you're toast. So and this is why people say, oh, they literally shot at the UFO and the thing bounced off. Well, it didn't bounce off the metal. It bounced off of the energy field, what they call a field propulsion system. A true field propulsion system is also known as torsion field, because it's rotating, sometimes in two different directions at the same time. That's a scalar wave, but it's that field, just like our planet. Our planet is created, they talk about the magnetic field a lot, but and it protects us, yes, but it's rotating, constantly. So it does deflect things, right? And that's where you get your shielding for these craft. And it's also if I understand it correctly, that's really how the gravity systems operate. It's something to do with rotating these fields of energy, like a plasma. It's what it is, plasma.
Yeah. Now you may understand this, and that our atomic or nuclear generators, they're very dangerous. But what if we use thorium? Thorium,
it's better.
It is not radioactive.
That's what I said. It's better. Because it's called aneutronic. And so it doesn't produce excess neutrons. And that penetrates pretty much everything, and including us, which causes the what do you call free radical cellular damage. And it will kill you. It definitely will kill any biology. So this is the other thing that's coming out. People have admitted now with the government, some of our military has been damaged and killed by close proximity to certain UFO craft.
Yep.
All right. And it usually has to do with their brains are being what do you call that? Swelling, inflammation. And it's because the frequency is so strong. And just because you don't hear it or see it doesn't mean you should be in it, because it's really not designed for even trees and grass and stuff have a bad reaction to it. So to me, that's not the most advanced system. That's something a little lower down on the scale of things. Now, you and I talked off the air about the highest one would be like consciousness, which for people who don't know, I know this can sound very like Greek I'm speaking here, but consciousness, energy, and matter are all the same thing. It's frequencies that are filtering down into the creation of the universe. And they're in different phase states, just like you can have water, can be a solid, a liquid, or a gas. So you can have consciousness, energy, or matter. And that's something that the more advanced alien, extraterrestrial, interdimensional, whatever you want to call them, I call them family. But anyway, they can. That's the highest level of manipulation that you can use of so-called energy or whatever it was Ralph Ring that actually talked about this. Are you familiar with his work?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So for people who don't know, Google Ralph Ring, and you probably won't believe it. It's going to sound like science fiction, but I'm sure he was telling the truth about it, at least as much as he understood.
Well, he built the craft and he flew it.
So, I know. But we weren't there, Augie. So again, but as far as what I'm saying is for how the way he describes this stuff, I felt anyway, there was more to the story that he wasn't saying or didn't know, and we're touching on it. We're touching on it here because, like I said, where is all the energy coming from? We're not generating it. We're not. We're tapping into this cosmic stream of consciousness, energy, matter.
Yeah, that's right. I see now we're down at the bottom of the hour, and for those of you that joined us late, we're talking with Robert Stanley, and we're talking about how do the UFOs fly? We're talking about technology behind it and the gravity nullification systems, and it got pretty deep here. Let's dive a little deeper. How about that? I
Okay.
I I know you in the past at least you have been talking about time travel. It's one of my favorite things to do. I have an electronic device that I've had some really strange experiences with.
Yeah.
But you've been talking about that for a long time, and I'm
Yeah.
wondering what you think. How far into this concept do you think the technology at the governmental level maybe have been developed so far?
Yeah. Well, people can Google Project Looking Glass. You probably have a hard time looking up Deglaka. That be, I don't even know how to spell that. But the Nazis were working on a time manipulation device, and they may have succeeded. I mean, I was told to my face that they did, but I can't prove that to you. Um, so one of the guys that I interviewed on this, besides Al Bielek, who's gone now, he was quite a character. He took a liking to me and told me some really wild stories. There's no way I can prove that stuff about the Philadelphia experiment. Okay, no way. But it was interesting. Another guy was James Horak,
Mm.
Horak, and that's the article I sent you today. He was one of the guys that was trying to explain that these timelines. Actually, Whitley Strieber wrote a novel about this once. Also, it was pretty fascinating. But there are allegedly divergent timelines that sometimes that they converge and then whatever. And some people have technology that can jump between timelines. Uh, Now, if I had to define what that it really means, is it's a stream of consciousness. When we say timeline, you got to say, well, that's just words, you know. How would you describe that? Well, the best analogy I could come up with is it's a stream of consciousness, and that we are having experience on that particular path, like a road. Okay, so but there can be other roads or paths as well, timelines that, like I said, sometimes they intersect, or you could jump over if you had the right kind of vehicle. You can jump over. Does that wreak havoc if one to the other? It could. I mean, my understanding, I can't prove it, but it logically it makes sense that if you tamper with one, if there's any connection there between the two, and that was what James Hork said. You know, what I sent you there, people can look this up too. RFID chip found in Napoleon's skull. That's not a National Enquirer headline. RFID chip found
Yeah.
in Napoleon's skull when they did I don't know why they did a scan of it, but whatever. So, according to Mr. Horak, he said, yeah, there was people from who created a different timeline that went and tampered with Napoleon when he was in the Great Pyramid alone, and they put an implant in him,
Mhm.
an RFID chip, an implant. It's an implant. It's not like a transistor. It's just thing that we talk about alien implants, but they're not
Yeah.
really alien. They're not foreign. A lot of people talk about this. Oh, time. They're us from the future. No, they don't have to be. They could be us related to us, but on a parallel timeline that occasionally touches, or they can transfer back and forth. I mean, it's look. I had a hard time with this when I was younger. I used to
Yeah.
think, no, that there's no way that's possible. But the more I actually looked at it and thought about it,
Hmm.
anything's possible. We can't disprove it, so therefore we should at least discuss it, right?
Yeah, I know that story is real. I also read that story
Yes.
in an overseas newspaper many years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah. Not here, and most people have never heard of it because there's a
Yeah.
lot of having traveled around. I mean, I only lived out the side of the country once when I was in Hong Kong for 4 years, but I know that Americans get, like you said, they treat us like mushrooms. But it's not just censorship. There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make it into America, or it's banned. It's like blocked. You know, it used to be
Yeah.
just books and things. Now it's like the internet, or
Yeah.
Plus, look, a lot of the technology that they have behind the scenes can be used for nefarious purposes, such as mind control. They never
Yeah.
stop doing that stuff. I mean, it's like it's always been an issue. How much can you manipulate the masses and get away with it? And
A
they
lot.
apparently it's quite a bit. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I don't want to freak people out, but it's like here's what was proven. I think I might have told you this. I'll just repeat this. Whoever's got these craft has the technology to read our minds,
Yep.
and they proved it. They proved that to me twice,
Hmm.
or maybe three times. But the bottom line is, the first time scared me. I mean, absolutely was in a state of shock. I was literally shaking like a leaf, and I just I don't have anything to hide. But there's a certain level of violation when you realize, wait a second, I don't know who you are. And I don't know why you can literally, read my mind. And I felt like there's a level of violation. And also I'm vulnerable. I'm totally vulnerable.
Yeah.
This is the other thing, by the way. If they ever say we need to go to war with these people, you better think twice and then think again. And after
Yeah.
that, you don't know what you're dealing with here. If you have a weapon, and I do have, I'm in Florida, I have lots of weapons for humans. But if it comes down to these other people, and some of them look exactly like us, they have a level of technology. If they know what I'm thinking, they know exactly where I am, what I'm going to do next, and they will either evade me or take the proper action. So they have the advantage. Plus, they got this great technology that can literally just switch you off, like you'll be frozen. Do you
Yeah.
think that we have any chance of competing with that? I don't.
It's going to be pretty hard. But the amazing thing is that we can actually train ourselves to do that.
Yeah, sure.
Takes a little
But they've got
practice.
technology. Sorry, they
Yeah.
do have technology. I'm not making this up, people. Augie, I'm not kidding when I tell you this. Not
Yeah.
only can they be invisible, they can literally read our thoughts.
Yeah.
Everybody, unless you're just like, I don't know, shielded. You might be in a Faraday cage or something. I don't know. I don't know how to exactly do that, but it's a problem. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
There's been experiments with that.
Yeah,
Put somebody in a Faraday cage, but they still was able to
still.
discern the person's thoughts.
Yeah. Well, okay. Since we're going here now, okay. It's
Yeah.
because here's what I was shown. We're all connected to the cosmic web of light on a micro level through our DNA, but through a macro level of our consciousness.
Mm.
And that was shown to me during a close encounter on a mountain in Malibu, right above Point Mugu Naval Base, one night. And
Mhm.
it freaked me out because I thought, wow, I'm having a hallucination. What's going on here? They showed me this. Somehow they beamed that into my mind so that I could see that connection. I didn't see anything like it until the movie Avatar. If you remember when they connected the trees that is connected to all the other
Yeah.
trees, except like a network like that. But then, but also, like I said, when I saw scientific descriptions of the cosmic web of light. Now that's on a macro scale. They're only looking at the universe and how it's connected through these energetic streams of consciousness and light. But what I was shown is it goes all the way down to the subatomic level. So I think it's Bell's theorem says everything's connected. I know it is. I know it is. Sometimes I don't want to. I'd rather not, but that's not an option. So again, I'm not trying to make people uncomfortable here. But I think what happens is, Augie, when you get this level of awareness, some people tune out. They just go, well, "Okay, that's it. I'm it, too uncomfortable." And they just tune out.
I know. And I saw a comment in the chat here, and
Yeah, good.
this is really good.
What?
Royal F77 says, telephones can also read our mind. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but I
Yeah.
know. I was discussing that with Bella here, my housemate, because I thought of something. There was something I was going to buy. I decided I was going to buy it. I thought of it. I never
Never said it.
did
Yeah.
talk to her, but I never went on the phone and did anything on it. But then I start get advertisements for it
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
afterwards.
So here's why that happens. Because the internet is a very cheap copy of the cosmic web of light. Remember, it's a web. We used to call it the World Wide Web originally, right? But it's
Yeah.
a version of, it's a copy of. It's not the thing that, like I say, the cosmic web of light is, it fills the entire universe. And it's way more effective, I feel, to be connected to that through meditation or whatever works for you. I don't recommend drugs, but people are finding, DMT actually takes them into that next level of awareness. But the internet was designed by the Defense Department, DARPA, the Pentagon
Yeah.
Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. Anyway, as a surveillance system and a way of manipulating us. So, and even censoring us when we don't behave. So it's not. I mean, we're using it for good, but it was never originally designed for that.
I thought Al Gore did that.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to say that.
Okay. You're being
Yeah.
naughty, Augie. But
Yeah.
that's funny. I'm glad you. It's good that we laugh a little bit because I don't want to make people depressed.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You
know.
know.
But you have done more research into other things. I think you
Yeah.
went and looked into the cave inside the BUCEGI Mountains in Romania.
Not me. No, I've been inside the Great Pyramid, but I haven't been to Romania, and I haven't been to what was Bosnia Pyramid. I haven't been there yet.
Oh,
I'd like
I
to
thought
go.
it
I'd
was.
like to go. I
Yeah.
may have published something because other people told me about it. I forget the guy's
Uh,
name now who wrote that book about the
hmm.
Sphinx in Romania.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating
Uh,
stuff.
it is really fascinating stuff because they had crystal tables and holographic images,
Uh,
and this
I'm
thing have
not
been
surprised.
sealed
Yeah,
up for millions of years, but it
yeah,
works still.
yeah. Yeah, well, that's the other thing. What we call advanced technology is just, to me, is normal. That's the way it should be. Universally cosmic, created to last forever. Because why
Yeah.
wouldn't you do that?
Yeah,
So,
that's the
but that
thing.
stuff's found, Augie. That stuff's found all over the planet. If you really study, you find I mean, and a lot of places it's found, it's hidden. After they find it, they either rebury it or they destroy it or they take it to the Smithsonian or Vatican or whatever. It's just um, like you and I were talking privately about the libraries. There was a huge library in Central America got destroyed. There was all the libraries, plural, in Alexandria that were destroyed.
Hmm.
And then there was a huge library in China that was destroyed by one guy. Gave the order. Yeah, they got
Yeah.
all the books. Got to go. It's like, what? Crazy.
Yeah.
So
When they're afraid, that their power is gonna decline, then they do
yeah.
away with every. Yeah. So, and talk a little bit about your book also, because covert encounters in Washington D.C. What
Yeah.
kind of stuff are you covering in there?
Okay, so that is from 1850 to 2011, a timeline of UFO events in the controlled airspace of Washington, D.C. So even though they tell us up until recently, they were saying, oh, there's nothing to worry about. Privately, or say behind the scenes, they have been extremely worried, especially in 1952, but not only 1952, because so I started my investigation because of some photographs that were sent to me by Daryl Sims, the UFO hunter, who
Hmm.
formerly with the CIA, and he just sent me the email, said, Robert, I got these photos from a guy in Washington. Do you think this is Photoshop? And this was 2005. It was May of 2005. God, that was a while ago. And so I looked at it, and it said these were taken in July 16th of 2002. And I thought, if it's been almost 3 years, how come if this is real, how come nobody's talking about it? I mean, I study this stuff all the time. Why is nobody's, if it happened, right?
Mhm.
So I contacted the photographer, and we started working together. And unfortunately, he passed in March 30th of this year. If not good. All right, it was very sad. But he comes from a very distinguished military family in Washington, D.C. His father and his mother both worked for the CIA. His brother worked at the Joint Chiefs at the Pentagon. He was there at 9/11 when the explosion went off and was hurt pretty bad. So, but the pictures that this man, Mr. Wilbur Allen, took with high-end Nikon equipment and actually 35 millimeter celluloid film, which we authenticated the negatives. That was one of the things that when I got back to Daryl, I'm saying, this guy seems legitimate, and he says he's got negatives. He goes, well, we got to get that analyzed. I'm like, really? Because this is how innocent I was. I'm thinking, oh, well, if it's innocent, if it really is authentic, then everybody's gonna say, oh, they landed on the Capitol building in the middle of the night on July 16th, 2002.
Wow.
No, people don't believe it. They don't believe it because they didn't see it on the news.
Yeah.
And here's the other kicker. Mr. Allen, prior to taking those pictures, he was on a freelance assignment that night at the Capitol building. He had worked for ABC News for 14 years in Washington, D.C., at the Capitol, at the White House, and other events. And so the first people, actually, once he developed the film and he made copies, he took a CD or DVD, whatever, to the Capitol Police and said, hey, you need to see this. There was something happened at night. You guys should know. If you don't already know, you should know about it. And they're like, wow, our cameras didn't pick this up at all. Well, and there was a reason for it. Like I said, film can be more sensitive. Cameras are not, closed circuit cameras are not they're limited. All right. The system had been upgraded after 9/11, but not enough to catch what happened. So he gave him that information. Then he contacted the station chief for ABC News in Washington, D.C., because that's who he reported to when he was working there. And silence. So he went to NBC. Silence. And ABC, NBC, CBS. No. The only venue that was interested was one guy at National Geographic. Said, oh, these are amazing. They're into photography. They're like, wow, this is that's an amazing set of photos you got there. He wanted to run photos, and they fired him. So
Really?
what happened? Yes. And so what happened was Mr. Allen started reaching out. He figured, well, okay, look, if the mainstream media is not going to touch this, and believe me, they are ordered to that whole nonsense for decades. They would try and tell everybody, oh yeah, people saw lights, but they'd always have a skeptic on there and say, nah, these documents aren't real. No, this film is, you know what I mean? Every time you see anybody on the television, they always had to have the skeptic over there going, nah, I don't believe that. So, so naturally they were ordered not to cover it. And so Mr. Allen started reaching out to the UFO community.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to touch it either, which he was very shocked. Yes, and it's look, with the article, here's the thing. If people go to robertstanley.substack.com, the first article at the top says, you can handle the truth. And you can, but you're probably not going to believe it because you didn't see it on the news yet. But it's true. Here's the thing. I cannot fabricate authentic negatives from a camera, first of all. And I also, because the way I wrote the timeline, I found it in the public record. I cannot create history. I had learned this at Honda. When you want to study a technology trend, you take data points, right? From this date to that date. And you put them in there, you plug it in there, and you see the ebb and the flow, and you start looking at, okay, there's a pattern and it's repeating itself. So we can expect it probably gonna, like a tide, it's gonna peak or whatever. So this isn't complicated, but I'm really trying to keep my cool here, Augie, because I invested so much of my life putting this story out. Eventually, the nut's going to crack. Okay, I don't know if it's for whatever reason. It's. I was given this assignment, and I'm the only one that has really devoted any time and energy to presenting the full history of UFO activity in controlled airspace in Washington, D.C. So the second book that you're talking about, from 1850 to 2011, there's over 900 reports from people in Washington, D.C. who have seen the same thing at different times using slightly different language, whatever. But it's all in the book. You can download it for free as a PDF off of my Substack. And I highly encourage you people to read it for yourself, because I can't explain everything, but I'm giving you a thumbnail of what led me into this. It's more than just research. It is disclosure, even though I'm not a government official. I'm giving you an official historic timeline with authentic photographs that prove that there are, and this is crazy, Augie. This is documented on the film. They can create portals, wormholes in the sky over Washington, D.C. and transit through. And when they send up the jets, whoosh, they go back out, they're gone. The jets go down to land, whoosh, they come back out through this little, and I've actually got a photograph of this, okay? That's the first, I didn't even know, we didn't know what we were looking at. I was the one that actually found it. I thought there was somebody poked a hole in the film until I zoomed in on it. And I'm like, what is this? What is this, So we talked to Stanton Friedman, and he said, yeah, that looks like a wormhole. And we're like, okay, well, how much more evidence do we need to present to the public? And okay, so here's what happened. Oh, here, sorry to give, you asked me, so I got to give you a little background. I originally published, before the books, right, 2 books, I published an article, and that was in, it coincided. It was in July of 2005. Mm-hmm. Part of that is I contacted the public relations department at the Capitol, and I said to them, look, I'm going to publish some photographs with an article, and it makes you guys look bad. There's no response to this event. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's like you have an incursion on your rooftop and around the whole thing, and nobody's reacting. That doesn't make any sense. I said, look, let me ask you 4 questions. And I asked him, right? And he says, the guy was laughing, right? He thinks I'm a nut. And then he says, well, who are you? And I told him. He says, well, where are you going to publish this? And I said, I told him. And he goes, okay, where do you live? I said, well, I'm not in D.C. He goes, no, but, you give me something, I'll give you something. All right, whatever. Yeah, this is me, whatever. So then he gets back to me a week later, and he talks to me like this, like a robot. Totally no emotion. He's just reading a script, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And that was it. That was it. So I'm thinking, all right, whatever. I just published this article. A few days later, I get visited by a black helicopter at my home. And when I say visit, that's a nice way of saying it scared the crap out of me, because it came to the house and it was doing maneuvers over my house. And when I came out onto the driveway, it was hovering over my car, the driveway. I mean, it was like, 100 feet, but it was, and I'm like, what is going on here? And it went down the street and it did a 180-degree turn, and it came back down up the street past my house. I took a picture of it. Not that matters, but I'm just saying that was the first time. That's why I realized, wait a second, they're doing this because I published that article with those photographs. Okay. Yeah. Now I'm going to make a transition here. I hope this doesn't, like, people have aneurysm or something. You
I'm
need
telling
to
you,
go?
yeah, we got about make 2 minutes left. That's about it.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. So anyway, you know what happened to people January 6th at the Capitol?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was the first time they sent the helicopter because I was reporting on events at the Capitol that they didn't want anybody talking or knowing anything about.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I wrote the first book, because I realized there was something going on. When I started writing after the first book and they hacked my website when I was on Coast to Coast, I started looking into it further. And that's when I got visit from the second visit. This time was 2 of the very large helicopters. Okay. So they made it clear to me they didn't want me doing what I was doing, and yet I did it anyway. There must be something wrong with me. But anyway, you can read it all.
Yeah.
You can read all about it in the book or books that are available on my website.
Yeah. Tell them where they can find the books again.
Yeah, robertstanley.substack.com. The first article at the very top is called You Can Handle the Truth. You can download both of my books for free and see the photographs, including the photographs of the helicopters, if you don't believe what I'm saying. It's pretty phenomenal, honestly. I didn't intend to become an enemy of the deep state, Augie, just for reporting events at the Capitol starting in 2002, right? They want to keep this under wraps, but anyway, eventually, I appreciate you giving me the time. I'm sorry I got off on a tangent here.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. I tell you, it's pretty easy to get on the shit list of the government if you're doing anything. I know.
The shadow government. Yes, yeah, apparently so.
Yeah, yeah. I've been there and I'm still there, so I know how
Okay.
it
So,
works.
all right, I'm in good company.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, Robert.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is really good. Go back to this website. There's other stuff there too, so you got to have a look at that. And thank you so much. And then for those of you that are still with us, if you are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. That'll help us a lot. And then until next time.